Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do an update on the Discotek lovely complex dub debacle. So the person who was the, free, offered their free translation services, who's a YouTuber, by the way, named JelloApocalypse. They went on a rant about how, they were changing things in these dubs and they're doing it because of, trans rights and all these current year talking points to a show that's actually like 20 years old. People found out. They weren't happy. This person has apparently been fired from their, again, free translation services.
What I said last time, which was they're probably going to get fired, but it's probably going to be because they're out there spilling the tea more than it's going to be about the fact that they did bad translations. Yeah,
so we're gonna talk about the fallout from this and the damage done to Discotek. It's been pretty immense. A lot of anime fans not happy with them, and apparently they put a statement up regarding this guy.
Well, did they now?
And then they took it down. And now they're like, wait, are they going to still use him? They're just not going to tell us? I mean, what's going on here? But it did sort of rip the mask off of what we already knew, which is there are some localizers that just want to take creative license with Japanese products, with Japanese properties that they did not create. They want to be co-creators, or they're bored, or they have activism on their mind, or whatever it is, and they want to change things just for the sake of changing them. And then if people call them out on it, they get called Nazis and chuds and yada yada. We know the drill, right? We know the drill. So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk about ghost stories, which we did mention in another video, and a lot of people sent me this article. Here's the thing: I've never heard the story. The official story that I had heard regarding the Ghost Stories dub was the ADV got this late in its life cycle. They didn't really think much of the show, and they were kind of in a pissy mood, and they just kind of did whatever the hell they wanted to do, and that was that. But apparently there was a story going around that the show bombed in Japan, and Japan begged them to make changes, and that turns out
I don't think they would have begged them
true.
to make changes.
No, I don't think so.
Why would they do that? I mean, I don't know if it bombed or not in Japan. I'm just saying, I never thought they told them to and begged them to do it. I thought they just did it because they were being smartasses and they were going to be shut down anyway. So that was a bang. That's what I always thought.
Was my understanding. That is the story I have heard for years regarding ghost stories. I'm like, how the hell did they get away with this? Especially when you're dealing with kids, and some of the jokes they're making and stuff. There's a story going around that it was a huge bomb in Japan, and Japan was begging the US to fix their shit. And that's not true. If you heard that version of the story, again, this is all new to me. I've never heard that version, but that's the version you heard. Apparently it's not true. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Yeah, woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
So this is coming from Silicone Era. Discotek puts out statement about lovely complex dub. So this is Justin Savakis, a producer at Discotek, put out a statement in regards to the company's English dub of the anime series Lovely Complex, which we talked about in a previous video, all the stuff that this JelloApocalypse said that they were doing. The reference, this is in reference to the disparaging statements from Brendan JelloApocalypse Blaber he had made about the source material. This is his YouTube channel. He's an animator, and he's actually got close to 2 million subs. I guess he's pretty popular. I've actually never heard of him.
Well, I don't know as much now after his comments before.
Yeah, I don't know, but people were really shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, what happened to this guy?" Like, he used to be kind of edgy, I don't know.
Edgy? I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either. I'm kind of looking at this.
No, I don't buy that this person.
I'm not getting edgy from this. I'm not getting edgy from any of this. I'm getting Tumblr webcomic.
I'm not getting edgy.
But anyway, that is what's going on with that. Yeah. So anyway, Blabber's lack of professional discretion is supposedly what got him fired from it. Basically,
that's what I would think too. I mean, and I said that. I mean, saying the stuff that he was saying was what was going to get him in trouble. And I said that yesterday or day before, whatever day that was.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that he admitted that they were making changes. It was the fact that he basically pulled the curtain back and said, hey, these companies don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Because you guys are basically too stupid to know what we're doing anyway, and we're trying to make it better. And as long as we don't talk about all the crap we're doing and we don't draw attention to it, but this happens.
He just drew attention to it.
Just drew attention to it. Now, back in the day, yeah, actually, localizers and you know, dub voice actors, they could get away with a lot more because we didn't have access to the Japanese originals. You know, back in the day, we didn't know what we were missing. And now these people, especially if they've been pirating a show for years, you know, they know what the original is like or what it says. And again, this is making a pretty good case for, you know, just letting Japan handle it themselves when they're making so many changes. But yeah, he explained that Sound Cadence, I guess, is the dub studio he worked with. They obtained the rights to work on Lovely Complex's dub from Discotek, who did not want to dub it because it is an expensive process. As such, he and many other people who worked on the production were volunteers. So he was a volunteer. So you're thinking, I'm going to volunteer on this because I love the source material so much.
Well, he clearly didn't love it that much because you wanted to change everything about it.
He didn't love it that much. Yeah, Blabber went on to talk about how much he hates Lovely Complex. He states that since he's a freelance contractor and does not have an official relationship with any of the companies involved, he's speaking for himself. And
this reminds me of like He-Man, She-Ra,
activists,
you know, Voltron, Thundercats, et cetera.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So this is the statement that was posted by Discotek Media by Justin Savakis, and we'll blow this up here because it's been pulled down. He said, "We're aware of the comments made by a contractor that worked on Lovely Complex. The English version was made with the supervision and approval of the show's original producers. Dubs commonly punch up comedy and smooth over rough patches, so the end product aligns with the show's intended audience and provokes the intended response. And there will always be shades of gray when adapting work."
But what they changed, what the intended response sounds like it was, and what they changed it to make it doesn't sound like the same thing.
He basically said that they just kind of give them carte blanche and don't really pay attention. So that doesn't look good for Discotek to work with other Japanese companies because they're like, hey, we give you our stuff. We don't know what you're going to do with it, you know? Anyway, back to his statement. He said, anyone expecting exact fealty to Japanese dialogue should be watching the subtitles, which Discotek has always presented with as little alteration as possible when translating from a very different language. We are deeply disappointed in this individual's lack of professional discretion and will not be working with him in the future. We will continue to work on future projects with an eye towards satisfying as many fans as possible.
The translation, we're still going to pull this shit. We're just going to find someone who keeps their mouth shut.
Yes. And that's just it. So he pulled this down. So the producer pulled it down.
Because everybody's calling him out. Like, so basically you're just going to keep doing this shit, but then, you know, you're just not working with this person.
Yeah. Niche Gamer put this together.
They said they were asked to take it down. By who?
They were asked. Probably Blabber. Because he's probably like, oh, you're defaming me. I'm like, you let the dude work for free and he destroyed your company's credibility.
He's not only defaming you. I mean,
he didn't name him. He didn't say, hey, Justin Blabber fucked up our translation because he had to get his current year activism in there on a 20-year-old show.
This reads, okay, let's read this again. We are aware of the comments made by a contractor, that's him,
yes,
that worked on Lovely Complex. The English version was made with the same supervision and approval of the show's original producer. So you're implying that the original producers from Japan
signed off on it.
But that's not exactly what they're saying, but that's what it reads. Dubs commonly punch up comedy to smooth over rough patches. So the end product aligns with the show's intended audience. What was the intended audience? Because from what I'm seeing in the original dialogue, the intended audience, the intent was to make fun of trans people originally. I don't watch the show, but that's how it came across.
Yeah, I mean...
And then you changed it, so it's not aligning with the original intent. That's not what's happening. It's basically is when it comes to something that's problematic, we hire people to pussify it so that people don't get pissed.
They're not going to be called localizers. They're going to be called pussifiers.
I'm just saying, basically, that's what's going on. Your intended audience. You mean the triggered people on Twitter?
Yes,
because
pretty
that's basically what it is. Basically, what I'm hearing is we take old anime and then we pussify it so that Twitter people don't get mad. And we're going to keep doing that. We're just making sure we pick pussies with mouths closed. Their lips are shut.
Which pussies. Ones? The tight pussies.
The tight-lipped pussies.
Oh my God. Cross your legs, pussies. Yeah, so.
Leon's dying across the room right now.
I am.
His face. You should be on camera for that one.
So here's the thing, right? Like this happens though. How did these people, and I said this in the other video, and I'm going to say it again. If this is the first time you've watched our take on this, this is how these people get into fandoms. I'm serious. This is how they do it. They volunteer. A lot of them are like, oh, I'm going to volunteer to be a community manager.
Or they'll do it cheap. They'll do it cheap. I'll do it cheaper than that.
Yeah, I'm happy to get anything. I'm happy to work on your Marvel comics for $50 a page because I'm not getting paid anything on Tumblr. You know what I'm saying?
When we're seeing like page rates and comics go down, and like I'm price per article on journal and blogs go down, and the how much they pay translators go down, you can pretty much blame it on the people that are willing to do it for free or next to nothing, so that they can get themselves in there. And they scream later about how all the income rates are down. It's like, but you ran it down because it's only going to be worth it. If you'll take less, they'll give you less. Like, you know what I mean? We're worth so much more. Well, you kind of did it to yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, this is I've said before, especially when it comes to like comics, right? And it's kind of a tangent, but I've said before that when things started getting really weird in comics, the professionalism left when the money did, because you can't afford professionals, or you realize you could get by hiring people cheaper, but the people that you get cheap are a lot of times they're activists like this. They're anti-capitalist activists. They just want a platform. I mean,
right, but then they get the platform and they scream about how they're not getting paid much.
Yeah, then they'll scream later about how they're not getting paid much. But you're anti-money.
They set the rate.
You're anti-money. You know what they should do is they should send JelloApocalypse a bill for the lost sales. Like, you just cost us.
There's no really way to quantify that, honestly.
I guarantee you, a lot of people are going to boycott Discotek products. A lot of people are definitely not going to buy this set.
You're going to be hard pressed to prove that because it's going to be very hard to quantify.
It's like, damn it, and that's why I'm saying, like, you have to hire the right people. You can't hire people that are going to run at the mouth on social media. And back in the day, it didn't happen. I mean, a lot of these people, I'm going to tell you the truth. A lot of these people, they've had the same politics. They've had the same outlook that they do now. It's just, it wasn't all out in public. So the consumers didn't know, and what they didn't know didn't hurt them. They would just kind of judge a product on some merit. But now they look at the product and they look at who's making the product and what they're saying on social media. So it's not just the product itself. A lot of people now are like, okay, yeah, I would go see that movie, but the director said dumb shit. Now I don't want to go see that movie. The directors were probably saying dumb shit behind the scenes 30 years ago. We just didn't know it.
I'm sure. Well, I'm looking at this person's account, this Justin Savakis, and everything I'm seeing there, just I stand by what I said, what the translation of that paragraph is.
Yeah.
There's definitely an agenda here.
Definitely an agenda. So yeah, it's made out of the loop on Reddit. Everybody's like, what the hell's going on here? But apparently they're gone, maybe, or at least they're going to try to memory hole it and they'll come back again. Some people said that they think JelloApocalypse's suggested changes maybe didn't make it into the final dub because the producers in Japan might have nicked some of it.
I don't know. They're saying the way they're talking, they all approved it.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, because every time we talk about dubs and changes, Ghost Stories comes up because I freaking love.
It's amazing.
I freaking love Ghost Stories, right?
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you like us, you'll like this. They're way worse than me.
And look, this kind of stuff happened. It happened back in the day. Now, again, the story I heard, and I just wanted to address this because every time we talk about localizers, are like, well, they've been doing this since the early 2000s, just doing whatever the hell they want. And I'm like, yeah, but in this case, like, I'll tell you the truth. I don't think I would have watched the original show. I would have took one look at it and been like, okay, this is like Japanese Scooby-Doo, but not funny.
I have watched some of it with subtitles before, and I was like, I prefer the dub.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the novelty of it.
I need Jesus.
So damn weird. And
my kids literally go around Mirror Walks, and they'll just, like, my daughter especially will just start randomly doing that.
Oh my God.
They'll do the little brother from Ghost Stories, and then they both start howling. They think it's hilarious. Like,
all the stuff. Now, what's so funny about this is all the stuff that these voice actors accuse people on social media of being.
They were behind doing it.
You started it. Like, you were saying crazy ass shit. Now you're gonna play the Puritan now, but you're saying crazy ass shit in this. And look, I think it's funny.
I just realized that me doing that, if you didn't watch a show, you're not gonna know what the hell I was just doing.
You're not gonna know. So just to be clear, like,
watch the show. It'll make sense.
This is nothing like the original. The bare bones of the stories there, and then they just kind of ran with it and just made up a bunch of shit. And
I'll have to watch it back to back. Watch the dub and then watch the subtitle version and see what I'm sure it's a huge difference. My problem is sitting down and having time to do it.
So this is we've actually had we had the DVD set.
I haven't watched all of it. I've never finished it.
Oh really?
So have you finished it?
I got through most of it.
I have never had time. Like I usually get, busy, and then I get distracted by K-drama. Marry My Husband, very good. At Apple Plus. Go ahead, continue.
Anyway, yeah. So the story I always heard again was that ADV just didn't give a shit. They didn't care.
I never heard it was crap in Japan. I just heard that ADV didn't care.
Yeah, they got it, and they're like, okay, we're going out of business anyway, so we don't give a shit. That's the story I always heard. But the
result was one of the most wildly offensive, bizarre anime dubs ever made. Hot damn, it was, but it's worth it.
Oh my god,
wildly offensive. So wonderful.
Monica, like, so I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed. With Monica Rial like acting like she's on a high horse now.
Did you know she has a vagina?
Yeah, she did. You need Jesus. Anyway, she was great. She was great in that. Anyway. So this is coming from Slash Film. Lots of people sent me this. They're like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, no, actually, I never said what. I just said I enjoyed the dub. And there are cases, I'm going to be honest, there are cases where I enjoy the localization more than the original.
This one is a good prime example of really changing it.
This is a prime example. I would actually argue the Lunar games, working design. Some people hate them. They absolutely hate them. But again, they worked in close conjunction with the studio, with Game Arts. So, they were putting, pop culture jokes and stuff like that in these games, but like Game Arts was very aware of it. It wasn't like they were just doing it behind their backs.
I guess my thing is, if something is so problematic that you have to change so much about it to make it palatable for modern audiences, then you should probably just leave it as it is. Don't make a dub of it and just release it with subtitles.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm at. Like if it was so problematic the way it sounds, I never watched the one we were talking about, so I don't know. Then don't touch it. Like, if you're just going to go in and change everything about it just to make it, less whatever, so people don't scream about it, then they're never going to enjoy it anyway because they're not enjoying it as it was intended. And there's no point. Go find something else that they will like. Yeah. That takes less change.
And again, this is an anime that I wouldn't have given a second glance to.
This is as funny as hell.
I think
the intent on this was different than the intent on the one we were talking about.
Right, we're not. So that's
intent matters.
I would say in some cases, if they're changing it to actually punch it up, or there's a joke that just is not going to work, or it's not going to land in English, and that does happen sometimes. Sometimes they have. It doesn't work because it's not the same language. Maybe one word sounds like another word, and that's kind of the joke over there, but it's not going to work over here. So you got to change it. Stuff like that. I get, stuff they have to change to be able to broadcast it. I get, because it's either you make the change to it or it doesn't get on the air at all. You take your pick. What I don't get is the more modern trend of trying to retro fix anime that you think is problematic for whatever reason. And then attacking fans when they find out that there have been changes made. And again, it wasn't because you had to make them. It's because the localizers just wanted to make them because they themselves didn't like these characters saying these things. And that's a huge difference. I personally think, but that's just me. Anyway, they said that, the story was, Ghost Stories was a total flop. They said it was such a financial and critical failure in Japan that Aniplex, let ADV do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And they don't mention, they're like, ADV, a now defunct American entertainment distributor. ADV Films, back in the day in the 90s, was the biggest anime distributor. They were huge.
They're also really pissed because it's wildly offensive.
Oh, it's wildly offensive.
So this person's just pissed in general. So they're gonna spin it a certain way. I just heard that they were going out and they just figured, what the fuck? That's what I heard.
I don't know.
I wasn't there.
That was my takeaway from it too. That's what I heard.
They don't know this is true. There's overwhelming evidence to the contrary. They're just saying. Some
people actually said that it was beating out Dragon Ball or something in the ratings, but yeah, they said it had solid ratings and aired in other countries. So yeah, they said Ghost Stories. Yeah, this is Animedia from 2000, 2001 when Ghost Stories was broadcast. Here's some of the issues from that period, and yeah, it's on the cover of.
I just thought they were just dicking around over here. That's what I always figured.
It was doing okay.
So this person is just really, really ass mad about the fact that it's wildly offensive.
So if you need even more evidence that we've all been tricked into, I never heard this. I don't know where the hell this came from. If you need more evidence that we've all been tricked into believing a successful show is an epic failure, There's also the fact that the original anime has received overall favorable reviews in Japan, 3.7 out of 5 stars. Further contradicting the alleged failure of the anime in its original form.
This person's really pissed about
right?
it. They're so mad. It's worth it just because they're so pissed.
They said that.
They spent how much time on this?
I don't know. The ADV Films English dub is the only version of Ghost Stories in which the original script was altered. The Japanese version of Ghost Stories aired in numerous countries, and the overall tone and script remained unchanged even when it was dubbed in other languages. The series also received another English dub that stayed faithful to the spirit and intent of the original script, but nobody talks about that.
This is not as fun, I'm sure.
No, that dub was broadcast in various parts of the world as well. The original Japanese version has been streaming on Crunchyroll since 2015.
You can see the original one, guys.
Yeah,
if you want to see it, it's easy to go see. Just go see the one that's the fun one first. Given the considerable amount of evidence to the contrary, I'm curious now. Where exactly did the false narrative that the original Ghost Stories bombed in Japan come from? I didn't. That wasn't what I was really. What I always thought it was just because they were going out in ADV and just wanted to have fun. Like I didn't think it was. That was my understanding. That's always been my understanding. I honestly didn't know how it did in Japan. I really didn't. I just thought this was funny. They said the misinformation comes from a single source, Steve Foster, who served as the ADR director for Ghost Stories. Basically, don't cancel me because we made it this way. We had to make it. We had to do it. We had to make no. You know what? This is one time, but I'm glad they did. Yeah. Foster has served as the ADR director for various anime shows, earning a reputation for his habit of making strange changes to the story, tone, and dialogue for the English dubs he oversaw. This is a comment. This is about page. My liberal take on anime made me famous to millions of people while making me infamous to a few others, mainly trolls. Now I'm not 100% sure which side is responsible for it, but I am in the Urban Dictionary. Fosterizations. You see, the critics reviewing my shows came up with the word for my technique. Someone got that word into the Urban Dick. Now, Fosterize has a kind of snarky definition, and while I believe it should read fucking something up because it wasn't perfectly fine at all. In fact, it kind of sucked. I'm still oddly proud of this weird little accomplishment. And yes, I did buy a mug with the definition. I don't blame you. Oh my God. Oh, look, again. The fosterization of... I don't care. It's fucking funny. I'm sorry. In this case, I will give you that this is... It's a South Park anime. Yes. It is. Yes. That actually sums it up pretty well. God, I love the dub. I'm sorry. I tried watching the sub in this particular case. I tried watching the subtitle. I'm like, God, this is boring. No, I actually kind of would want to do both. I just have to have time to do it. I actually would sit through both. I've tried watching a couple episodes of subtitle. But I would watch it both ways the whole way through. I don't know. I just don't understand people are so pissed about it. Wow. Yeah, I just heard that they were on their way out. ADV was huge. Like, I don't understand why people are like, yeah, there was this little company called ADV. I'm like, it was freaking, they did Evangelion. Anyway, we spent more time talking about ghost stories and we did talk about Lovely Complex. Honestly, it's worth talking about because it's funny. But I think there is a difference in the intent. I think that's basically where it's at. Now we have people that are making changes maliciously. It's not to make it funny. It's not to make it better. No, they're trying to make it better, but they're trying to make it better for certain people. For activism. Again, and that's what I'm saying. If you're so offended by the source material, then my recommendation is don't dub it. Just leave it be as it is and move on to something that you think would be more acceptable. Because if you're just going to change everything about it, like a Ghost Stories move, but not funny, then I'd say don't. I mean, even Ghost Stories, I will admit, probably shouldn't have happened. But it's funny as hell. It is funny. All right, let's wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. Bye.